dreams collide. High road roaring every night. Spotlight on Spurs, feel the fight. Spotlight on Spurs, hearts ablaze through the cheers and cloudy days. From the lane to glory's flight. Spotlight on Spurs, shine so bright. Echoes rise when we take the field. This is passion, nothing concealed. Through the tackles, joy ignites. Spotlight on Spurs, burning lights. Feel the tempo, sweet and wild. London's warriors never mild. Every challenge we endure. Spotlight on Spurs, loud and pure.
What's up, guys? Luke here from Spotlight on Spurs. I hope everyone is having a brilliant evening. Tonight, we have on the show Mr. Christopher Hubble. As always, my friend, how are you doing?
Afternoon, mate. All good, thank you. All good.
Good. Got the new shirt on again. Love to see it. Callum, a returning guest as well. How are we doing, mate? Thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, no, I'm good, mate. It's actually surprising that I've done a couple of shows in the week for once and all that. I'm usually tucked up in bed or doing something. So now it's nice to do something on a Thursday night. Let's put it that way, mate.
Thanks again for coming on. And then Mr. Manny himself. How are we doing, sir? You all right?
I'm good, man. I'm good. A bit under the weather, and then my oldest decided to wake up 2 minutes before the podcast. So, good.
Mate, don't worry about it. I know the feeling. I'm a little bit under the weather too. I've not had the kids up just yet, but there's time. There's time. So, thanks again for everyone for coming on, guys. If you haven't seen it already, there has been some bomber news, although there are a few people that have been spreading it around in wildfire through the groups, which I think is bang out of order because I wanted to drop the exclusive. According to my sources, which is The Sun, very reliable source, by the way, brilliant source. It looks like there is going to be a takeover bid for Spurs by Brooklyn Eric. Is heading a 12-man group that has lodged the stunning offer of 4.5 billion. And just before we come on air, Chris dropped an absolute corker and said, how brilliant would it be if Daniel Levy was the one that put it all together? Imagine Levy's the guy that comes back. The fandom, it would be absolutely sensational. So apparently the deal looks like it's for 3.3 billion to buy out the entire club from owners Enoch and the Lewis family, and then a further 1.2 billion to be included, which would be like wages, fees, agents' fees, that sort of stuff, taking the total package to just over 4.25 billion for a football club, which is what Todd Bowley paid for Chelsea in 2022. And then here there's a little bit more information where they're saying that essentially the people that want to buy it, so here it is, Brooklyn and his team think everything is in place at Tottenham already. Spurs have a world-class stadium and training facility. The infrastructure is all in place. With the investment they're ready to make, it will be the final step to turn the club into winners on the pitch as well. Clearly, they don't know that we're winners in the pitch already because we definitely got a European trophy in the last season, in case anybody forgot. So yeah, it does mention about a 4.5 billion pound buyout, but it's not 4.5 billion. It's 3.3. And yes, but it does mention in the article, it does bring up Levy as well. So the article actually is, it comes from Martin Lipton, who is a Spurs fan, but he's also obviously a chief writer at The Sun as well. The Sun as a source, interesting. Chris, we'll start with you, seeing as you brought Levy's name into the mix before we even got going. What would your thoughts be on this one? And let's not include Levy because there's no proof of that just yet.
I think investment is always, can be seen as a positive. I just hope it doesn't. Nothing really changes you can see a lot of these teams that get bought out by billionaires, and I just think the way the Premier League's structured at the minute, you've got 6, 7, 8 teams all being owned by billionaires. You've got the likes of Wrexham and Birmingham, obviously still trying to get promoted and come up to us, but only one can win it, and only 4 or 5 can get into the Champions League, and that's what everyone wants. So I just feel like it ends up being another team that we want to spend the money, we want to go and get the players. I just hope we don't just start throwing money everywhere and just buying in loads and loads of players, and we end up selling them again for pennies afterwards. So positive. It shows we're in the right direction as a club. It would just be our luck that the new owners come in, club gets sold, and we're appointing Daniel Levy as chairman because he's got the knowledge and the experience, and everyone goes, yeah, we've been taken over. Levy's back. So
Hey, I've been saying this since day one. There was obviously the talk very early on about the phased buyout and people coming in, but Levy staying in control. If I bought a football club, there's one man that I'd want in control of it. It's him. I know I'm not going to lose money. I know I'm not going broke. I know I'm not going to spend a load of money. He's the guy that you'd want to keep because you know that your money is going to be absolutely safe and secure. Probably not going to go down well with a chat there, but man. What do you think about the whole story, mate? Do you give it much legs or not?
That sentence you just uttered is gonna have Lugo at your doorstep in the next few minutes, trying to crucify you. So I'll be very, very careful about what you say. I think you're spot on there. I think the main sticking point at the moment is the source coming from the Sun. I am not entirely sure I'm there yet until basically I hear it from someone else, to be completely honest. I mean, I echo Chris's point. 12 people consortium. You look at Chelsea, you look at how they're being handled at the moment, whereby it seems to be like obviously they've won the Club World Cup, but they seem to be all over the place from a recruitment perspective, all over the place from a management perspective. I don't know how I feel about this. I would rather a majority of us would rather the Qataris and looking at what they did with PSG, but I'd rather something a bit more stable than what I'm seeing with these American owners, to be completely honest with you. Or even if it is an American owner, I wouldn't mind it being a family coming in rather than a 12-man group of people that are using the money from other people to invest. I don't know how I feel about that, to be completely honest. Obviously that 1.2 billion for players sounds fun, but I wouldn't put it past us to buy the same kind of players we bought when we sold Gareth Bale with that 1.2 billion. So I wouldn't get too excited early.
You're not wrong, but breaking news: Fabrizio Romano has just tweeted and said that Savio is close to signing a new deal at Manchester City. So the whole deal for Savio, which a lot of us thought was going to happen, is obviously off. That will not be happening. So it says, Fabrizio Romano, Manchester City are closing in on an agreement over a new deal for Savio. Contracts talks at advanced final stages with Brazilian winger to stay at Man City for the long term. Follow City decision to turn down 2 bids from Tottenham. So that could be a dent in what we thought hopefully would be a signing in January. Callum, coming to you on the bid for the club, and also the non-bid for Savio as well. What are your thoughts on them 2 bits, mate?
If I come in on the Savio deal at the moment, I was just texting one of my mates. I just got the news, like what you put. I posted in all the group chats, and that one's right out of the blue, and it's taken Spurs by surprise. Let's put it that way, because they were still planning to revisit it in January. Let's put it that way. So that's really going to put a nail in the coffin a little bit, because Spurs really did want to go back in for him, and the fact that they did have 2 deals or 2 bids turned down plus a further verbal offer being looked at, it's a little bit iffy, because considering that he's not getting game time at the moment as well, if he signs a new deal, it's World Cup year, and there's enough players in front of him in that Brazil squad to keep him out. So I do wonder whether this is one that the club have kind of forced on him to say, if you want games, you got to sign a new deal and all that. So it's a little bit skullduggery here, kind of like the Morgan Gibbs White one again for it as well. But it's very, very difficult and all that in regards to that, because that has a big impact on Spurs' transfer business going forward for that. Because I was speaking to a number of contacts the other day, and it was still Rodgers, Savio as the top options. Evening, Eugene. You're going to be negative as well, mate, after last weekend. And it does have impacts, because Savio was one of the top targets that Frank wanted in the squad. So it'll be interesting to see whether, if he does do this deal, and how it would go. Let's put it that way. So, no, on that one, it's a bit out of the blue, but it's the same with this Sun article as well, to be honest. I don't really rate the Sun as far as I can throw it. I mean, it's banned from a number of cities in this country for being one of the most toxic, turbulent newspapers, but Lipton does have some links to Spurs. So, but a 12-man consortium or a 12-person consortium, I mean, it sounds like PIF all over again and all that. I mean, I don't really want a consortium-led group. I'd rather have a company like sort of ENIC running it within reason, because obviously ENIC is run by Tavistock Group. Tavistock Group is owned by the Lewis family. So it's a shell approach, but it's only a few people who have majority shares. But I guess the whole club isn't owned by one source. It's owned about 80% by Levy, 80%, well, between 80% and the Lewis family. And then the rest of it is owned by private shareholders, whether they be Kev or proper shareholders in there in that regard as well. So no, I think this one's a little bit out too cold for me at the moment to be able to properly comment on, and it seems a bit low, if I'm honest with you. If we're saying 3.3 billion to just buy the club and then 1.2 billion to cover wages and costs, it's too specific in that regard, to be honest. No, I don't give it any legs, to be honest, and I don't really want American owners.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? It's a tough one, isn't it? Because it is weird to have so many people buy in. I know that you would have a focal figure and one person that will kind of be leading it, but to have 12 people from the get-go, normally you don't hear about the people in the background, but to have the number of how many people are going to be involved in it does seem a little bit strange. And as you said, normally with these things, you hear it from one source and then 5 or 6 all of appear out of the woodwork. Whereas this one, it seems to be quite isolated at this moment. I'm sure there'll be a few. I think Indy was going to tweet something similar, because he said that he's got some huge news dropping at Spurs. I thought it might be something like Thomas Frank being appointed Tottenham manager or something like that, because sometimes his huge news are a little bit old school. But we shall see. So obviously that is a piece of huge news in terms of being positive in a way, if that goes ahead. And then not having Savio, Chris, I was of the opinion that we were now focusing on number 1 and 2 targets, and if we couldn't get them, we would be happy to wait. But with Savio now looking off the market, where do Spurs go now? What do we do with that left wing position?
I think it's probably back to the drawing board now, and Frank can go, right, that was my number 1, and not that the number 2 is a worse option, but he obviously knows he must have a list of players in his head for positions that he feel like he needs. So either the scouting team need to be sent out again and go, right, let's try and find something. Let's go and do something else. Or Frank accepts that, right, he signed a new deal. We're not going to be able to sign him. This is who I'd want, who for me is not like a second choice, but someone who I would have and still be happy with and I can still work with. So as long as we're giving Frank the option or the power to have an input in it, and it's not just a case of, Frank, we couldn't get him, so now we're going to go and sign this 17-year-old who we can get for 15 million quid, and he might end up being the best thing in the world, and he might end up just going out on loan for 3 seasons and then getting sold for 15 million again. So I just hope if that is the case, as I say, Frank is involved in the process, and whatever way they go about it. I mean, the transfers have been very positive this window, so I don't expect us to go and sign 3 or 4 players in January. Obviously, it will depend on what we need and if there's injuries and whatever else may creep up. But yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, the Morgan Rogers one is because we've signed Simmons, that if we go and get him in January, or we go in with serious bids for him in January, that'll be, I think, where fans will turn around and go, we're actually serious. This is like, we're coming now. Like, we're after these players. We go January, right? There's 80 million for him, or whatever, 70 and
we've got 1.2 billion, mate. We'll have 1.2 billion when we have this buyout. Forget 80 million. We just drop.
God, you are so delusional. I swear. I knew you was a blinking melt sometimes, but you are bloody smoking some shit now, aren't you, mate? What have them kids done to you? You've never been the same.
Mate, I'm just.
For me, I always
positive.
look back on the new. It's new for me. It's Newcastle. So you look at how much the Newcastle owners are worth, and yet they still can't go and spend ridiculous money because you've got all the rules in place and the financial fair play and all that stuff. So even if you've got 1.2 billion, we're not going to go and spend 1.2, but we're not even going to go and spend 600 million in the transfer window. But at least if we're going for the right players, and it's players that everyone can turn around and be like, he's coming in to challenge for a number 1 spot. We're signing world-class, proven players, then I think the money will just be, it will end up working its way in as well. But I think for me as well, it's more the wages. I don't want to start giving like 18, 22-year-olds 300,000. No, if we're signing quality players, you give them the wages they deserve. If we're going to start signing like 21-year-olds and giving them 300 grand a week, it never ends well, unless you get the right mentality. And for me, that just ruins players. So
it can do, but I think it's about sending messages as well, right? Like Romero, for instance, signing a new contract, that sends a message to other players. Like, he's at the club and he must see that they're moving in the right way. He's obviously heard about what they want to do and everything else. And for him to sign a new contract and what would probably be his best years, that's a statement of intent. As well as going to sign players, you also need to keep the ones that you've got around. So I completely agree, and I think that's what we need to start doing, making more statements, whether it be signing up players to long-term contracts, keeping them here for their peak years, or looking at targeting. Blaine dropping 5 gifted subs in the chat. Big up, my man. Thank you ever so much. If you got one of them, please make sure you drop a thank you in the chat. And he's followed it up by being so generous and then said, oh no, that ball bag Flower got one. So James Flower, you're in the chat. Make sure you say thank you to Blaine, because he's being so polite about you. Vicario, Richarlison lover. Big up to everyone in the chat. Thank you very much for popping by. Much appreciated. I've actually just seen, while I was quickly scrolling through X, seeing if there was any other further updates, Ben Jacobs has just kind of stirred the pot again with regards to Harry Kane, saying that there are links to Manchester United. I'm not going to get anyone too excited, but basically he's hinting that Man United might be an option for Harry Kane.
No chance.
I mean, that should be our first signing. That should be if we get taken over, that should be the first signing.
Well, let's put it this way. There's a 67 million release clause for January, and there's a 54.5 release clause in the summer. We have a matching clause, and we have first refusal as well, thanks to Daniel Levy's skullduggery deals. So,
you can't come on here praising Levy. You'll get told right off.
Oh, I couldn't give 2 shits, to be honest. I mean, I had a full swing in the summer. I was very much Spurs in and Levy in and all that, because I knew what was going on in the background. The amount of players that we were trying to get and putting in big money for. I mean, I had a full 360 on my view, and I mean, I'm Spurs in, I'm Enoch in. I don't want these nutters. And it turns out that guy who apparently is going to launch this bid he tried to buy Maserati and the deal collapsed as well. He just throws money randomly at stuff. So, I mean, it doesn't make sense. But I've seen in the chat them saying Semenyo, Robertson and Martinez. I mean, Semenyo ain't happening. He's going to go to Arsenal. Robinson ain't a target, too old. We want a young one. Martinez, I ain't got a bloody clue. Walton, they still like him, though.
Semenyo's come out and made a statement publicly recently in an interview saying that he's an Arsenal fan, which has then brought up the whole Eze situation all again. So, but Chris did mention an interesting thing there about Harry Kane, because I have seen it split. I don't know how, but I'm still seeing some fans be disrespectful towards Kane. But if Kane was the number one target in the summer, Manny, yes or no?
What is that even a question? Bring the guy home. What are we talking about? Like, I'm not even entertaining anything other than that. Like, he first and foremost, he is not going United, right? He's not coming back to the UK to play with Dorgu and three at the back and Mr. Moncler Mourinho. Absolutely not. That is not happening. Like, he's got enough money. He can relax and make sensible decisions. I don't see it. That's the first thing, right? The second thing is that he's 33 now, isn't he? Or is he 32?
32.
I think he turns 33 soon. Yeah,
I think it's July. I'm pretty sure his birthday's in July, so I think he's 32.
Right. So perfect. So here's the way he plays. Right, the guy is so intelligent that his age, even at this point in time, doesn't really matter.
He's
that
31.
Much. Like, he's 31. Right. Look at that. Like, he's still got. I reckon he's still got about 3-4 years in him. And if I was him, considering the fact that there are two parts of this, right? There is the part of his release clause, which is definitely inherent in his contract, but also the fact that he has openly said he wants to play in the Premier League again, and I do not see what's it called, Bayern letting him go for free. He's got 2 years left on his contract, right? So, and he is not, I don't see him signing another contract to extend. So the right time to let him go is going to be in the summer. So I'm actually rooting for, obviously, other than Spurs, I'm rooting for them to win the Champions League, because if he does win the Champions League, he'll be out of there faster than I'm, upstairs to tend for my kids. I'm telling you now. So get him in. We don't need a 12-man consortium to pay 53 million for Harry Kane. So get the guy in. And bearing in mind, I was at the stadium on Wednesday night. Was it Wednesday night? Yeah, it was Wednesday night. Yeah. It was yesterday, right? Yeah. And after watching Tel run around up top, and after watching Richie run around up top, I think I deserve Harry Kane next summer. So please bring the guy back. He's better than anything we would even get, to be completely honest with you, for that money.
As you say, it's not even there's no question. There's no question.
Well, there is a question, because I'm going to ask it to Callum in a minute about Kane. But first of all, I'm going to go to Blaine again, dropping in a big super chat, mate. Big up to all you guys. But I have to call out Eugene and applaud his gloomy tactical shout out on Palhinha playing centre back. Well done, Eugene. After 500 darts,
I had to put up with him for an hour and a half being gloomy and moody on Sunday. Love you, Eugene.
You're welcome. I'm making you money, Eugene. I love you, Blaine. Hey, I love you too.
He made you money. He lost us money. How does that work?
Mate, I had a feeling. I kept saying that the first 11 back, the main back four won't be starting. We've only got 6 defenders, so someone was going to play in there. I thought it'd be Gray at fullback, but we only have 6 options in defence at this moment in time. So I felt similar, but I weren't going to call Palhinha at centre back. I didn't even think that was the case until Frank actually mentioned it. But you're right. Look, Walton, Semenyo, Robinson, Martinez. In January we'll do. Just drop in a casual 300 million. Will do. That'll do.
It's all right. You can only have 3 new players in the Champions League squad, and only one of them is English. That really goes down well, don't it?
I'll tell you what also isn't factored in about them free transfers in is that Kulusevski and a centre back will need to be added. So either Dragusin or Kulusevski comes in. That means there's only space for one winter signing, which was hoping it was Savio. However, that is no more. We are going to go on to him in a minute. We are going to go on to the game in a minute. But Lubo has joined us. How are we doing, sir?
Evening. Yeah, all good. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Thank you for coming on, mate. Much appreciated. We're I don't know whether you've seen the news. We're just going through having a little chat. Apparently, Harry Kane's been linked to Manchester United. What are your thoughts?
Why would he go there instead of Spurs?
At least we all agree on that one. And Callum, I was going to come to you just quick. Kane to Spurs. You happy with that?
Of course I am, because if the club has their way, they get rid of Richie either in January or the summer. They let Moani go back to PSG. Kane comes in. Solanke becomes the second. Lancashire becomes the third. And Malia holds down the backup spot or goes out on loan. So club's plan is all in place already for it. Kane is the part of the plan.
As I was saying earlier, it just sends out a bit of a statement, doesn't it? It sends out a bit of a statement. You've got them young players that are coming through. What a person to be looking up to. You know the mentality of him. You know what he's like as a person, as a character, as a leader. What, like, we're talking about having Archie Gray in the squad. We're talking about having Tell in the squad. Who are they learning from? Well, Kane is what got to be up there with one of the one player that you'd want to have, especially with the Spurs background as well. Eugene, you asked for it, and I've now delivered. We've got the poll going next season. Who do we want starting up front? Is it Kane or Richie? Kane is.
Can I say something, Luke, on the back of one of the points that we made, right? About Semenyo. It's quite annoying, yes, that he's openly said that he's an Arsenal fan just recently. But let's not really forget the fact that, to be fair, Eze was very close to joining us, and he had obviously been very open with the fact that he was an Arsenal fan. And when I look at Arsenal's squad and the fact that they gave Trossard a pay rise, they spent 67 million on Eze, another left winger, and they've got Martinelli, who's also a left winger. Unless they sell one of them, right? Being Martinelli, probably, because Trossard is a squad player anyway. I don't see them splurging 70, because that's what you're gonna have to pay for Semenyo, 70 plus, right? I don't see them splurging 70 plus on a left winger when they've just spent 67 million on a player that they deem to be a left winger in Eze. So I don't think it's that dead in the water for us from that Semenyo perspective.
Yeah, no, I completely understand what you're saying. Just, I did mention it earlier in terms of Indy dropping some bombers. We thought it was going to be linked to the takeover. It's not. It's about Harold Kane, and he's exclusive. Is that Harry Kane's agent is in confirmed talks with Spurs? It's 100% confirmed. It's very important that Tottenham qualify for the Champions League to make the deal possible.
Great, we've got Charlie Kane leading on it again. That prick! What a twat! What a twat! He was the worst one when he was dealing with Spurs in the first place.
Has he not got one client?
Yeah, that's his only client.
Yeah, and he's got his old desk set up. He goes to work in a suit, and that was what everyone was taking a mick out of.
His desk was his dining room table. How does that count?
Lubo getting a load of love in the chat as per always. Yeah, I mean, I've just seen that. Like, I've seen some people just talk about Harry Kane and just be like, "Nah, we shouldn't be getting him back. We should be going on to that." And I'm just like, forget about his age right now. Like, how many strikers are you going to sign better than what he is? That's the bottom line for me. I don't know whether anyone's seen, but Rooney. There was an interview with Rooney as well, and Rooney was like, his movement's unbelievable. His goal scoring ability is unbelievable. And for him, he's the best 9 that England's ever had, which is some statement coming from
And
Wayne.
Luke, can I say one thing as well? Sorry, I know I keep cutting you off, right? But one thing that I also found very, very, very interesting is that throughout the summer, all the way into the season, during the transfer window, Thomas Frank got asked about players that were not playing for Spurs, and in each instance, he said, "They're not my players. I'm not going to comment." Right? As soon as they asked him about Harry Kane, that guy had a lot of words for him, saying, "Oh, listen, Harry Kane, he's a wonderful player. If he wants to come back, listen, we will want him." It felt a bit, I don't know, because how do you go
I
from
felt
saying,
the same, Manny. I felt
yeah, how
exactly
do
the
you go
same
from saying
when
I
I
don't
heard
want
the
to talk about
interview.
anybody to all of a sudden saying all these stuff about Kane?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I just say there's always that whenever you watch these interviews, there's always that, yeah, he's a good player, but unfortunately he's not our player, so I'm not going to talk about it. Whereas with that, it was like he's loved here, it's this and that, and he went into a bit more, as you say, he didn't say, oh yeah, I'd love to bring him in, I'd pay the money or whatever, but he showed he's got a lot of respect, and he sort of built on it slightly as well. So interesting interview that was, interesting like question and answer there.
Blame coming in asking if whoever's picked Richie was dropped on their noggins. I have a feeling a few of the people that picked Richie, I reckon James Flowers picked Richie. I reckon Eugene's picked Richie, and I reckon that's probably about it. I don't think anyone else is. Lubo maybe might have picked Richie, but we'll go from there. I was going to say, guys, obviously the game that took place yesterday, Lubo, you went to the game, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you did as well, Manny. Have you seen any?
Yep.
Obviously, it's, when you're there, you only get to see it once. I don't know whether you've seen any of the highlights, but just off of what you see, we'll start with you, Lubo. Was there any surprises to the lineup that we've already spoken about, the centre back issue and everything else? Was there any surprises to that lineup for you?
With Davis being injured, I think the smart money was probably on Gray to go to play at the back with Danso. So yes, he pulled a surprise by reversing Paulini and Gray, and it worked well. I mean, the game was hardly one of those that you'll remember. For me, it was a glorified training session. Pretty much, once two goals went in, the game was over, pretty much, and you just sort of seeing your way through to the end of the match. I wanted that third goal to go in earlier because I think he'd have probably brought on Williams, Barnett, and Byfield possibly if we'd have been 3 up with half an hour to go. I think I was sort of looking forward to seeing those two kids, see how they do. I mean, they're both 16, I think.
Yep.
And we've got two major talents there, from what I hear. It was, looking forward to the next round, but instantly the game was pretty much forgettable, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Manny, was there any surprises with that lineup? There was a lot of people calling for the 16-year-olds to kind of start the game. Was you expecting that to happen?
I thought he was gonna. I was surprised by the fact that he went that strong, but it wasn't something which I got annoyed about because, like, if you remember, and as I said, I'm the spearhead of the Ange support group. He changed nearly the whole 11, right? Last season, was it his first season? I think it was, and we went out straight away. So. And to be completely honest, I don't know whether Lubo agrees, but Doncaster were actually pretty good at the start. And I was thinking, I wasn't too annoyed about it. I felt, some of the players that we have need a game, need a run-in to be able to stake a claim. Tell, Odobert, Archie Gray, Kinski, as an example as well. done. So all these players need that fitness to keep going first and foremost, but also they need to try and push for that first spot. And I didn't feel like many of them did, but I'm quite happy that Frank gave them a chance. To be completely honest, I was very impressed by Kinski. I was very impressed because he didn't do it. He didn't have to do much, but when he did, that save was if that's a sign of things to come. Hopefully, that is what would help him, get to the point where he can become a number one, in the future. Hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Callum, was there any surprises for you in that lineup?
I kind of thought Richie might start, to be honest, but it was kind of most of the lineup that I went with, to be honest. I thought maybe a little bit of a more well-rounded midfield potentially, but no, within reason. I was surprised Porro started, to be honest. I thought, considering he started every single game this year, I thought maybe he might have dropped out and Spence and Udogie might have played there, but no, that and like we said, the centre-back stuff. So I reckon pretty level, to be honest, from what I saw.
I don't remember seeing anybody predict that Porro would start, to be fair. I don't remember, because everyone I think was of that assumption, what you just said, that he started not just this year, I mean last year as well. He has started a ridiculous amount of games, and you're bound to get an injury if you carry on playing that amount of games. So I think that was the one sort of surprise that everyone was kind of like, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
Do you reckon, though, because Frank hasn't announced his leadership group, do you reckon that could be an indication that maybe Porro might be one of his trusted vice captains potentially? Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it's quite an indication that he's come in and been captain since Romero's not in the starting lineup.
Yeah, I definitely think he's part of it. I think he is. I think your availability is a massive, massive part of the team, and you need your captain to be available as much as possible. And I think he brings that. But then also we have got a pretty young squad, so there has to be other people there that obviously take on that mantle. So it wouldn't surprise me if he was part of it, especially when you consider some of the players, mainly like Ben Davies, is not going to be a play-in captain, is he? Let's be honest. Most of us probably expect him not to play many games. So he's going to be a non-playing captain. So then how many other captain materials have you got in that squad? So I definitely think Porro's going to take that on. Chris, just moving on to you quickly. Starting lineup, any sort of surprises for you? Was you expecting that? We've got Eugene in the chat telling everyone that he actually got a prediction right, which is crazy. He's even surprised, which is brilliant. But well done, Eugene. Big up, mate. Go on, Chris.
I think it was expecting changes, expecting rotation. Centre back's quite an obvious one, but other than that, I was quite happy. I think like Lubo mentioned, I was hopeful to see a couple of the 16-year-olds get 20, 25 minutes and see them play out and let them sort of express themselves and show what they can do. So other than that, I think it's good minutes for the boys, and it gives some players like our back four much needed rest and get them fresh for the weekend.
Yeah, was there anyone that kind of didn't seize their chance for you guys? Because I've seen some conflicting stuff, but pretty much most of the people are all saying the sort of similar things, that normally there's a very big split. I think there's a lot of agendas within our fan base, whether a player plays well and they're still, because they're not liked, that's it. They didn't play well. But I feel like, and it's been in the chat as well, and I don't know whether everyone's just taking a shine into Lubo and everyone just wants to be on Lubo's side, but I think Archie Gray played well. Is there anyone that you think kind of really almost set a marker down as to kind of that this is the start of their season? Because let's be fair, there were a few players in there that kind of you don't know whether they're going to be in the 11. Lubo, we'll come to you. May as well start with Archie Gray. What was your thoughts on the kind of the fringe players' involvement in the game?
I thought with Gray played to a plan, particularly first half. There were some runs in the channels, and you can see that's been trained. That's part of Frank's training. I thought apart from that, I thought fluffed his lines a bit, got in the right positions, but just didn't finish. Odebear looked okay first half. Second half sort of drifted out. Johnson, it's funny on our show last night. He got a lot of stick. Sort of thinking about it today, he put 3 chances on a plate for Tell and Richie last night, as well as scoring himself. And what a pass that was from Bergvall.
Yeah.
And you know, if all those 3 chances had been taken, you'd have been looking at Johnson with 1 goal, 3 assists in a 6-0 win, and everybody would be saying, "What a performance!"
Yeah.
So it is fine margins. He is lazy. He doesn't track back like he should do. He drifts out of games. He just sort of comes alive periodically. We need an upgrade on Johnson for me. But by and large, you know, we've got a thin squad. So there are only so many changes that he can make. You know, we had 22 from the team that played against West Ham. You had 22 there, plus you had Austin and Gray. The rest were all injured. Although people like Takai and Dragusin are back in training, Solanke, they're not fit. So there was only so much he could do. But I thought he rotated well. He started with 7 or 8 players who didn't start on Saturday. So for me, it's important that players get on the pitch, get minutes. We've got a long season. I mean, you look at the fixture list. I think I read with the Newcastle draw, I think we've got 6 games in 16 days. So it's good that Mickey, Romero, Kudus and Vicario had a night off. They'll come back nice and fresh on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And I think he's got to be clever. And he's sort of got to look at, you know, these managers look sort of several games in advance when they're picking sides and think, do you know what, that'll be a side for that one, that'll be the team for that one. Barring injuries, this is how I think we're gonna take the next 3 or 4 games. You know, you pick your tactics and you pick your personnel dependent also on the opposition that you're playing.
Yeah.
So no, listen, it was a good night all rounds. Apart from I think Simmons got trodden on, didn't he? Which is why they pulled him off. I've not heard anything in the press today about injury, so I think that was probably more precautionary, and we got through again, fingers crossed, without any injuries. So it was okay. You know, we've got a 3-0 win in the next round, and what a match that is. So
yeah, I think
good evening.
He's in some ways you can say he's in a good position, and some ways you can say he's in a bad position, because I think there's almost that expectancy now from some fans where the last manager won something, so we have to be looking like we can't be going out to a Doncaster. So what does he do? Does he go and fully rotate and make 11 changes and then all of a sudden struggle? So I'm with you, Luva. I think that the 3-0 was the scoreline, and I think if the 3-0 would have come, then we would have seen possibly all 3 16-year-olds. I don't think all 3 would have come on, but I definitely think there was a better chance of seeing Barnett earlier, and then also maybe another one if that 3-0 would come, because 2-0 you can see the goal, and then all of a sudden it's like the fans start getting a little bit, the younger players on the pitch, etc. So was there anyone, Manny, for you, was there anyone that you think maybe, as I said, took their chance or didn't take their chance and now going to struggle for a little while until there's a kind of backup game going to kind of come along?
Well, first and foremost, actually, I'm seeing the chat, and everyone is saying that Gray had an amazing game. Maybe I was watching a totally different game to everyone else. I didn't think it was rubbish. And he was running in through into the channels, like Lubo said, and that was definitely he had been told to do that, which is encouraging because basically it looks to me like he is just being trained to be a number 8. And the way he plays. I know I'm not saying that they are the same person, just to caveat. I know this is the internet. I'm just saying he just reminds me of a young Declan Rice in the way he moves and the way he carries the ball. So if we can train him to develop to be as such, then that would be great. But I think when he ran into the channels and he got the ball, he didn't know what to do with it. So yeah, he just needs more game time, isn't it? It's been stop-start this season. It's not going to be a situation where he's just going to be a world beater all of a sudden. He needs time, and he's young. He's got the time to develop, and why. The players that we have, especially once Kulu comes in, etc., these are all players that he can learn from. So I'm not too concerned, about him at all. I am a bit concerned by Tel, and this is coming from someone who does see the little shining, technical ability, whatever it is that you want to call, or you want to call it. But the 2 chances he got, it's as if he was so scared of wanting to make a difference that he was thinking too much. These things are you follow your instincts with these things, and I felt he was thinking too much with regards to that. I don't understand why he's always played in the 9. Like, that's going to be my biggest gripe. When be it with Ange, be it with Frank, he is, to me, the way he plays, he's not a 9. He is not a 9. He's a winger to me. So when you put him there again, and to be fair, he should be doing better against Doncaster. Like, let's be real. But it's a bit of a waste for me. So yeah, he is definitely not. I was almost feeling like Frank has taken you out the Champions League, squad. Show him why he's made a mistake, and then when he puts in a performance like that, it just brings his stock all the way down all over again. I do think he's a long-term player. We have to just forget about him for the time being, to be completely honest. I think Odobert didn't really show us anything more than we know what he can do. He's got a low center of gravity. He's very good technically, and he's a speedster, but he's not strong enough, and that's exactly what he showed. So, but guys, I had a bit of a feeling, and you guys can shut me down if I'm being delusional here, right? But are we missing a bit of a trick with Johnson, right? In a sense of him being a second striker, because this guy can finish. Like, if you put him through on goal, like if you guys remember when we put Tel through on goal during the what's it called, the off season, or not off season, before the season started, when Asia, and he fluffed his line. Johnson doesn't fluff his line whenever he's in front of goal. His issue is taking his man on. So I do wonder whether, as time goes on and Frank has had more time and more I'm being told not to go there.
He had a go at me on Sunday for that as well, to be honest. I came up the same with you, Manny, on it, mate.
but I'm just thinking, is there a world where when we will get to a point where we might get a striker like an Ivan Toney who's going to knock the ball down for the likes of Johnson to be running into? Because once this guy gets through on goal, he does not miss. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me, being deceived by the Doncaster situation. But I don't know.
No, I agree.
His
on a
definitely
lot of
seemed to
bases.
come back yesterday.
Yeah, but
We've spoken a lot on here.
Is it confidence, Chris? Is it a confidence thing where he doesn't look like he's confident to use his pace? It's almost like I see it with Van der Ven all the time. When the ball's played over the top, he'll be coming up against a quick striker who looks really slow, because in his head he's already going, I'm against Van der Ven, I'm not going to win this race.
Yeah,
and it's almost like Johnson's got that as well. It's almost like, I'm not going to beat him, so I might as well just run slow. It's really, really strange. Where is he coming up against the Doncaster?
And that's what I thought. Is it because of the opposition we're playing against? Was the player that he's in a foot race with? But for his goal, it just seemed like he just took off and went. And it was like either he knew he had the pace and he was just going to do it because the defenders were just slower. I don't know. But we spoke about it loads on there about Johnson being like he's always at the back post to finish. And that was his thing last season. It was just more of yesterday for me. It was like this pace, he's using his pace again. So whether he's building his confidence, whether he's fit and he can actually do it. But I don't disagree with Manny, to be fair, about Johnson.
I think if Johnson's going through on goal, I don't really doubt him. It's just how often he's actually through on goal on his own with no one around him. Like if he's got people around him, then I think he almost shies away a little bit. But I think the problem is, and you mentioned it, like if you're playing him as a second striker, you're moving your whole tactical system around to fit him in. Now you might do that with a top player, but do you do that with a Johnson? Do you change your whole system to have a big man up top or someone winning kick-ons, but then to play him? That's where I don't know, because I don't think he's got enough in his game to play up front on his own. That would be my question. What do you think, boys? Hello.
Sorry, talk to me.
Any one of you. Like Manny's obviously put it forward.
I think he's got a problem at centre forward at the moment.
Yeah.
Slanky we haven't seen yet. Richie works hard, but I think we can all see just isn't the answer. And how is Kola Milani going to do? It's an unknown at the moment. So I think what I mentioned the other day, do you play Johnson at centre forward? Because you're going to, like last night, last minute, lovely ball from Bergvall. I mean, that was superb. And Johnson's away, ball's in the back of the net. And this is where he's strong. He's scored 3 already, 18 last season. I don't know what to say. He's an enigma because he does very little else apart from score. And when he doesn't score, you look at what he does and you come away thinking, why are we playing him?
Yeah.
So it is a problem. Please God, Kane comes back next year. That's all I can say.
Imagine.
That'll be massive. It will be massive. I was told, as I keep saying, in October by someone who heard it from the guy who said Bale was coming back on loan. And he said to me, you all laughed at me when I told you Bale was coming back. You're not going to argue with this. I said, no, I won't argue with you. Let's see if Harry does come back. And it's come from the same guy who predicted a Bale loan in 1920, I think it was, or 2021. And so I'm fairly confident that this ITK got it right last time if he gets it right this time. But I do think that Spurs do need to qualify for the Champions League.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's a different story, isn't it? Kane comes back and replaces Kane, which is
We've done the same thing with Bale. We replaced Bale with Bale 7 years later, and with Kane we replaced him with Kane 3 years later. I can't wait for Ledley King. Ledley King is going to come back and be brilliant for us.
They tried to replace Ericsson with Ericsson, but he ended up going to Brentford.
It's all right though. We replaced Lamella with Brian Hill, so there we go. That's wonderful, ain't it?
and ironically, Seville had Brian Hill, replaced him with Lamella, and then replaced him with Hill. Like it's crazy how this life works, isn't it? And Blaine actually put it in the chat, and he's not joking. But the guy that's actually apparently heading up the consortium, he actually follows Change for Tottenham. So he was leaving. He was leaving out.
You may have.
Jesus.
You may have.
Is it Lubo? It Lubo trying to take over the club?
Can you imagine? You could have still Brian Daigle and Billy T on the balls.
Oh my God!
I've actually responded back to Blaine and wrote, "Izzy Lubo in disguise." So you've got it bang on, Manny. That's exactly what it is. It's brilliant. So Chris, that counts out your argument, mate. That means if he was a Levy out, he's not going to bring Levy back when he. Is
there a way to zoom in on Lubo's files behind him just to see Spurs master plan or something like that in the background.
They're invoice files. Purely invoice files, that's all.
Is that how you're leading the 12 people on the consortium? You've got all their different invoices and you're stacking them up. That's how you got their money in hand for them, mate.
No, each file is for each board member.
Ah.
So obviously, Luke Williams Barnett came on yesterday, becoming a 900 player to play for Spurs. He's got that special number now that they all get. Did anyone see the interview afterwards? He definitely looks like a 16-year-old. The way he was talking, he was very shy. He was very it was like, yeah, it's brilliant, and it was like it was really awkward, but it was quite good to watch because you see so many people that are just media trained to death now. But what is everybody's thoughts on Williams Barnett? Do you expect to see him a lot? I almost think that getting him involved now and then just letting him develop in the background now, because I think every game there was going to be some sort of hype of he must play. But we've got such a big squad. It's almost like that's out of the way now. He's made his debut. Can we just let him settle in the under-21s and play a bit there? What does everyone think about? What do we see? Are we going to see him often this year, Lubo?
I'm not sure. I think yesterday was a perfect day to give him a taste of the first team. Play at White Hart Lane in front of, well, it was 42,000, wasn't there? And for me, I think Frank did what Arteta did with him, Wary at Brentford when he was 15.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me it was good. Thompson had a taste, and Byfield. They were both on the subs bench in the dressing room with the first team players. It must have been a great experience for them. And it keeps them focused, doesn't it? It's, this is where we want to get to. So, it pushes them that little bit harder. Do I think he'll play more this season? Barring an injury crisis, I don't see it. But the other situation is that we haven't got a resolution yet for the left wing position. So if he carries on developing, maybe he'll come in. If we don't sort this out in January, then maybe he'll come in later in the season. I don't know, but I think from what I hear, that is a priority for Spurs in the January window. So I would expect Williams Barnett to go back into the under-21s. You remember he's 16. He's only 16. He's playing with kids up to 5 years older. Great experience for him. He had an absolutely brilliant week last week. And he scored 3 in the first game, 3 in the second game. First was Valencia, wasn't it, in the under-19s? Yep. And then he scored 3 against Leicester in the under-21s. So it was perfect timing. You score 2 hat-tricks, you get the manager's attention. I'm sure that Frank's been getting great reports on him all season. But I think, great experience. Do I think he'll carry on? Not really. Not unless it's injuries. I think he'll stick with either Johnson or, for me, I think Odegaard will get the left wing berth for a few games now.
Yeah, so do
I don't see Williams Barnett playing with the first team squad.
So he's 17 on Wednesday, and that's why he hasn't signed a professional contract just yet, because you have to wait till he's 17. So Ali Gold has said today that he's agreed terms on his first contract. Tottenham just can't seal it basically until Wednesday, which is when they'll wrap it up. Manny, can you see him playing much more this summer, or do you think Lubo's right in terms of?
No. I agree. I fully agree with Lubo. Fully agree with it. Like he, as you said earlier, you alluded to earlier, he does look 17 as well, right? He looks it. This is not a case of he's got a grown man body ready to play in the grown man league. I don't think so at all. I think I've watched a few clips of him in the under-21s, and he looks very tidy, very tidy. You can see that he's got the talent, and I hope he just keeps developing. Like, imagine any of us being 16 turning 17, being in a dressing room with full-blown professionals, playing, training with them, going to a game like Doncaster with them. That alone is an incredible experience for him, and I think that is enough for him to just keep focusing and keep learning his craft in the under-21s, and hopefully, as he develops physically, he develops technically as well to be able to start challenging a bit more. But I do agree with Lou, but I don't think he's ready to play anywhere near the the requirements of what we need in the left wing. He's always, Frank is going to do what he will, which is he will turn to either Johnson, he will turn to Odebert, or push come to shove, he'll put Xavi Simons there, or he'll put what's his name, Kudus, on the left, or Tell on the left. You know what I mean? Like, he's got, even though we do need a left winger, it hasn't got to the point where we need to bring in Williams Barner into that position.
Yeah, and talking about him going back down to the under-21s, like Lubo just said, and I've used this as a criticism of the club for a little while now, and actually, I don't know whether anyone see it, but apparently Mikey Moore had an absolute stinker again today and was hooked off for Rangers. But if you go on Mikey Moore's stats on Transfer Market, Mikey Moore has played for the under-18s of Spurs 24 times. He's then played 21 games for the first team, and he's only played 5 for the under-21s. And I think that's where he's massively struggling, because he's played against players that are all roughly his age, and then he's jumped right up to first team level when he hasn't had that under-21 balance. As you just said, Lubo, these kids that are playing now that are 16, they're coming up against 19, 20-year-olds. When we won the league last season, we had Lancashire, or was it the season before? Lancashire, we had all of the Donnellys. These were all 19, 20
Bell, all of them, yeah.
Yeah, but they was experienced at that level.
Yeah.
So I think that by bringing them up right now, even they are actually flourishing, which is ironic. But even if they were struggling a little bit, they would be playing up against physically better players. So then when they come into the Premier League or into the first team football, they're already used to playing against people that are 3-4 years older than them, bigger than them physically. And I think that's a key part of this, is that we need to make sure we're managing their progression. And it's not necessarily that all of them are going to make it, but you need to give them the right situation for them to be able to. And that's where I think Mikey Moore got an injury, and I think that was the problem why he didn't play for the under-21s essentially. But it looks like we were already learning from that, and hopefully that's part of the new regime that's sort of been put together.
But look, can I say though, on that point, I'm this is just a personal opinion, right? I do think it's important for Mikey Moore to go through what he's going through at the moment, because it puts, like, if you look at what's his name? Madison. Madison joined Aberdeen at some point, and he went through the exact same thing. It toughens you up, because Harry Kane, exactly, gone from loan to loan to loan. I feel like with Mikey Moore, his talent he's got so much talent that I feel like this is the time for him to just get some grown-up football, be it, being hooked, be it being not having a good performance, because there, at Rangers, everything matters, right? Every win, loss, draw matters, and that is going to toughen him up to get him to that stage where we need to get him. Not everyone gets put through your academy to the first team and not get any other experience outside of it. So yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I do think it's good for him.
Yeah. Does
anyone
anyone
with Mikey Moore as well? It doesn't help that Rangers aren't playing well either. I don't know if tactically, if it's going to work for him there. I mean, I'm up in Scotland. I live up in Scotland, and a lot of people that I work with are Rangers fans, and they're all just sort of like deflated because of how it's going. And as soon as Mikey Moore signed for Rangers, everyone I knew who was a Rangers fan was messaging me saying, "What's he like? What's he like?" And I was like, "Very good talent, but he is still 17 years old." And I was like, "But what he played for Spurs last season, he was really good." And I think when a player like that comes from a team like Tottenham, who has played last season, there is a lot of expectation on him to light up the league. But I just feel I've watched a few Rangers games this season, and they just don't look good. Like they don't play well. I speak to any of the fans, they'll tell you the same thing as well. So I hope it's not him just playing bad. I think it might be the team's just not clicking right now, and it's the tactics of the manager and everything else is obviously playing a part in that. But it'd be interesting to see how it does pan out for the rest of the season.
The thing with Mikey as well, he's not physically adept and built at this stage. He hasn't built himself up enough physically to be able to compete in that league, and it's very difficult for it. It doesn't help that Russell Martin is under immense pressure and also is playing. Mikey's been deployed at left wing, right wing, left wing back as well this season. But Mikey, if he wants to be one of the best, if he wants to be as good as he thinks he can be, he has to be mentally and physically strong enough to do it. And at the moment, he's not showing it. This is on him personally to do it, to be honest. He's got
But
to.
sometimes you have to go through that. Man, he's right. You have to go through trials and tribulations. Also, you're going through it in... See, Rangers is actually a pressure cooker environment. It's not like he's going to a Doncaster or a championship team where it's not actually expected. And that's why I obviously didn't factor in that the manager would kind of have the start he's had and everything else. But for me, that was almost the perfect place for him to learn, because a lot of pressure is going to be put on him. He's going to be playing for a top team. He's not going to be sitting there like basically working like a dog being played at left back or constantly defending. He's going to be a top team that should be winning more games. The pressure's going to be on him to deliver. He's going to be the one that they're going to give the ball to for him to make things happen. But again, it just looked like that we've not looked at it. And obviously I didn't know the ins and outs of Rangers, but apparently their left winger is one of their better players. So you're looking at it going, well, who's signed this off again? Like, we've done the same thing. Dane Scarlett has had signing after signing where he's gone to teams that he's never going to play for. Will Lancashire went and signed for a team, and then the next day they loaned Adam Armstrong from the Premier League. And it's like, who is in control of this? And we got it a little bit right last year, but this year it seems to have gone back to
Stoke is the prime example at the moment, because we've literally got Donnelly and Phillips. Donnelly is being kept out of the team by Lewis Baker, a failed Chelsea loanee, who is a pile of crap. He is absolutely awful as a player, and he's being kept out. And then they've got a permanent centre-back signing as well in there. So, and they came in as club assets for Stoke. Donnelly and Phillips don't mean nothing to him. But just to link back onto the Luca Williams-Barnett stuff, I mean, I'm hopefully watching him against West Brom tomorrow night at Stevenage, and he's definitely a special player. But in question to whether he would fill in at left wing, he won't. He's actually the right-sided player for them at the 21 level or the 10. So he's more right-sided, and we've got Johnson, Kudus and Simmons at the moment for them. But he'll be around the squad. I reckon him, Byfield and probably Thompson will train with the first team and the 21s, but only later on. And I think where we said what was the biggest surprise or the biggest failing from the lineups yesterday was the fact of Frank not giving the youngsters a chance earlier. If he was going to do it, if you get what I mean, not just a 5-minute cameo. That's where it kind of felt a little bit forced, just like a gratuity to the fans, if you get what I mean. If you're going to take it seriously, then give them 20, 22 minutes, because Doncaster, even though everyone said that they were going to score, they weren't exactly great last night, were they, to be honest?
I think it was generally that. I think Lubo was right. I think it was a case of 3-0 was the number. And if we'd have got 3, I think we'd have seen changes earlier on. It's hard to make, like, for instance, Janai Byfield, it's hard to bring him on as a centre-back unless you go into a back 3. It's that you don't really play, you don't how many 16-year-old centre-halves are coming on the pitch. It doesn't normally happen. The other two are a little bit of a different example. And I actually think that you and Adrian could be right in the sense of Thompson would fit in a better, in terms of what the squad currently have and don't have. Thompson actually fits in better. He's a left winger who's very wide and very direct. And in some sort of ways, I'm not saying he's anywhere near this level, but he's similar to Savino's type of player in terms of left-footed, plays out on that side. I think Thompson as well, he's so direct that he just wants to attack his man. And we were saying all last year that we don't have a player that does that now. There's levels to this, and obviously he might not want to do that against a seasoned pro at right back, but I definitely think that we're good at doing that. We have made our youth players train with the first team quite regularly. So it wouldn't surprise me if he trained a lot, but I don't see him playing personally. And then moving on, guys, obviously we got the win. We're through to the next round, which I think that was just what was needed from that game. But up next is Wolves. And Wolves are rock bottom of the Premier League. They have played 5, lost 5. Is Frank gonna bring up with a whole Spursy performance and allow Wolves to get their first win? I feel like we let every single team we played last year get their first win.
We did that against Palace, didn't we? It was like Dr.
You're
Tottenham will see
Callum
you
a
now.
headache. You're giving Callum a headache.
My head has gone physically shiny. I'm going red with frustration. It is that bad.
And we haven't played yet.
I think the thing about Palace was a bit of an outlier because Morgan and Eze came back in, didn't they? They'd been out injured for a while. And Palace weren't playing badly and they weren't getting results. And all of a sudden, they went on this fantastic run starting on that day. So it was just a matter of time before that Palace started winning games. It just happened to be, unfortunately, us that were there to help them. We were the catalyst for it.
Yeah, and it was quite ironic. Yeah. They've gone on a shoot, but it was quite ironic because I'm not bringing it back to Ange because Manny's already brought him up, so I can mention his name just briefly. But it was quite ironic because loads of people that wanted Ange out kept throwing that at him, the fact that he lost to Palace, but then in the same breath by the end of the season was saying how brilliant their manager was and how many brilliant players they had. So it was almost like, well, hang on a minute. But I completely agree. I think but let's start with Chris this time because we've been going with Lubo. Let's start with Chris. Chris, against Wolves, just yes or no, are Spurs going to do what Spurs always do, regardless of the owner, regardless of the manager? Are they going to let, when we should follow up a good result, are we going to let that team take over and lose?
No.
God, look, I love the confidence. Callum?
Oh, blinking hope not.
Right.
That really ruined my Saturday night. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff, ain't it? That'd really put me in a mood. I ain't sleeping after that if we lose that.
Sunday's going to be a problem. Manny, yes or no?
Are we just doing yes or no, or can I say more?
Yes, we're going to go on to that in a minute. I just want to see whether we're in a positive mood.
Yes. We'll win that. We'll win that.
We're going to win. Lubo?
Same again.
Right.
I expect us to win. I think we're hard to beat.
All we need, get rid of Levy, you get a new manager, and look at the positivity. We'd have all been saying that we're going to lose for the last 10 years. It's brilliant. So yeah, as I said, their record is 5 games, 5 losses. They've scored 3 and they've conceded 12, which is very, very weird because they looked pretty. I know they lost Cunha and they've lost Aït-Nouri, but when that new manager came in, they really looked like a solid team. They've not brought in a lot. I like Larson. I think Larson is a good player. I think if they can get him the right service, he would cause us problems. How do you see the game going, Lubo, and what sort of team do you expect to see? Do you think we're going to revert back to type and go back to the kind of 11 we've been kind of used to going with?
I expect them to play Vicario, Porro, and Udogie as fullbacks, Romero and Mickey. Midfield will be, for me, I think, Paulinho, and I think he'll start with Bergvall. Simmons in the 10, and his front 3 will be Kudus, Ritchie, and Odobert. And I expect a tight game. I don't think it'll be easy. Wolves are fighting for their lives. 1-0, maybe 2-0. But again, tough game. But the 3 points, we need those 3 points. Listen, if we can win the 2 games that we've got before the international window in the league, then you go into the break with 16 out of 21, and that sets you up very nicely. It's a really good platform for the rest of the season, particularly if you're going for top 4 or 5. And although I think top 4 is slightly out of our grasp, because we've got a small squad, because there are certain players we can't afford to lose, and if we do, it's a bit of a drop down. I think 5th place is definitely there to be won. And if English clubs keep doing well in Europe, then the coefficient will be with us, and 5th place will get us into the Champions League, and Mr. Kane will be back in the number 10 shirt.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say, so Kane will be returning then, but he got in there first, Lubo. Manny, what are your thoughts? What are your expectations on the game?
Before that, I just want to remind Lubo that we haven't won a game before the international break since 2015.
He's done it.
But that's just by the by.
We've still got 2 more games though, Manny, so we're all right.
No, I echo Lubo's points. Listen, we have to win that game. We have to win that game, and the reason why I'm confident of us winning is because of Thomas Frank. He must have watched, like, I just don't see him looking at Wolves and thinking they're rock bottom. Let's turn up and beat them. I genuinely think he's gonna look at performances like the Wolves Liverpool game, where really and truly Liverpool should have been about 2-3-0 up in the first 30 minutes, right? 2-3-0 down in the first 30 minutes, right? So yes, they're bottom of the league, but every Premier League team is a tough team to play with against. So I genuinely reckon that Thomas Frank is going to look at it and like not have any complacency, or not let any complacency creep through to the boys. So yeah, I think we're going to win that game. I think in terms of the players that are going to play, I think that we're going to have Vicario, we're going to have Porro, Romero, Van de Ven. I don't know what's happening at the moment, but I think Udoji is going to play instead of Spence, because I think Frank definitely looked at that West Ham game and our left hand side and felt there was a bit of an awkward situation with the Spence Xavi situation there. So yeah, I think well, we better win. We better win. Like we need the 3 points, because unlike what Lubo said, I actually disagree. I think that 4th spot is up for grabs, right? I'm looking at the likes of Villa, banging trouble. Scored 1 goal, haven't won any game. Newcastle, whenever they meet any team which is above average, they struggle. Chelsea, obviously it's a long season, but if we put ourselves in that position and beat these teams that we need to beat, like we have, like your West Ham, like your Burnley, like your Wolves, we will be right in the mix by January. That's genuinely what I'm, the feeling I'm getting from the squad and Frank.
I was going to finish off on sort of expectancies in terms of the season, because I think obviously there a lot of people are probably thinking that Chelsea would be a bit more steady. They'd probably make a signing or 2 at centre back and possibly in goal as well. And obviously that seems to have changed. So Callum, we'll come to you next. What are your thoughts on the game, and then we'll kind of lead into where you expect and what you're sort of expecting from the season. Is 4th up for grabs, for instance? Is 5th the best we can ask for? What are your thoughts?
I mean, these are the games that we definitely want to win, if you get what I mean. If we are going to get spanked, we don't want them to be in these games, do we? We want to be winning these. These are the crucial points that can decide between 6th and 12th, if you get what I mean. 3.6 points. So I'd rather make at home a fortress, kill Wolves off, because they seem to always take a result against us over the last couple of years. So I'd rather just get rid of them, get them over and done with, and we make sure that they have a nice, crappy drive back up to Wolverhampton on Saturday night at 10 o'clock or 10:30. But no, leading into the season, I think we've been positive to start off with. We showed grit and determination to come back against Brighton, didn't we? So we wouldn't have done that against with Ange last season. So no, I think 4th to 6th is probably achievable. And like Lubo was saying, if the coefficient works in our favour with the 5th place, we get that as well. And we get positive if we go positive in January, then we push closer to that. We get out of the group stage, get like round of 16 or the quarterfinals for Champions League. I'll be happy this year and get a 5th place. It's improvement, and it shows that we're on the right track with Frank. And the great thing about Frank is we don't know what lineup he's going to throw out any game either, do we? So we're unpredictable, whereas with Ange, for the last 2 seasons, we were predictable. It was the same goal was being scored every game. It was up the left, across, Johnson runs. And that pretty much summed up our football. So by having Frank, we don't know his combinations. We don't know his pocket.
Callum, you're risking getting thrown off, mate. You could get muted. You could get muted here.
I know, but he's a delusional melt anyway, so it's all right. I'll say it to him. I text him every day. I'll just say, "What's wrong with you? What are you doing with your life?" But no, really,
you're not the only one. You're not the only one.
Your wife said it to you. She looks over to you. Are you still here? Are you still here? I thought you died in the night. What happened? Why are you still here? But no, we just. It feels fresh. It feels new. It feels nice with Frank. And even last night, we couldn't have predicted what he was going to pull with just a Paulinho at centre-back. It's working. When stuff doesn't go our way, then we'll probably reassess it. But at the moment, we're all on cloud 9. We're happy with what we're seeing. And we're going in the right direction. And the players are all buying into that. So, no, I think 4th to 6th, I'd be happy with. And I'd take a trophy, maybe an FA Cup or a Carabao as well.
I'd absolutely bite your hand off for an FA Cup. Just so you know as well, Lubo actually texted me back today and said, bad luck last night with the late equaliser.
I thought it was a bit strong when your wife started calling you Ange, Luke. I mean, that was, you know.
she calls me a lot worse than that. She calls me what Sava calls Ange. That's what she calls me. Chris, what are your thoughts on the game, and then obviously where do you expect the season to kind of go now we've kind of had a few weeks?
I agree with everyone else. I think 4th to 6th is probably looking realistic. I think at the start of the season when you asked me before, I think I said probably top 8. But I think we've got the quality, and if it keeps going the way that it's going, and the grit and determination is there to win games and see out the tough games, I think we'll be up there, definitely 4th to 6th. The weekend, I think it'll be 2-1 Spurs, and a fairly comfortable win. I know Wolves' tendency to be our bogey team, but I just hope we've got too much, and with the rested players as well coming back in, fresh legs, there should be no excuses to go and get a win.
I agree with Ronnie. It's going to be 4th now because we've got 1.2 billion to spend in January. Yes. There we go. Forest fans are already saying, wait for it to click. It's been 4 games and no wins, I believe. So, guys,
at least we didn't have a result of 3-2 within their first couple of games, did we? And all that against Swansea.
Oh.
It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. But we're not going to talk about that because this is not an Ange Postecoglou podcast. This is a Tottenham podcast, okay? We only speak about winning here and winning trophies. So, no, guys, a massive, massive thank you to everyone for coming on. We're going to wrap it up there. I am going to just say, though, guys, I need to get another 20 subs to reach 1.5k. So if anyone is in the chat and they haven't subbed already, please do go and sub to the channel. I've also put all of the links for everyone in the chat, and they'll also be in the description box. Everybody, there's free YouTube and X account that for the guys. So please go and show some love to them as well. I'd be very much appreciated. We're on 39 likes. If we can get another 11 guys taking it to 50, we always have 50 as the target. And a massive, massive thank you to everyone for coming on. Callum, where can people find you? You represent a different podcast every week, mate. But what's this week's flavour?
Spurs diehards now, mate. You can make that 21 more subs that you need. I've just unsubscribed to your channel just for that
Thank
one.
God for that. Thank
But
God
no,
for that.
you can find me at Spurs diehards or Callum Subs 97 on X. Or if anyone's going to 21's game tomorrow night, I will see them there as well.
Perfect. Manny, I can now ask you about your channel because you've dropped a video.
Yeah, I did. Well, I spoke to my good friend Sava and plucked a video from them, put it on my channel. But yeah, you'll find me on Designated Hotspur on all the socials. I am going to. It's been absolutely manic at work. Look, I've been speaking to you obviously offline, so it's just been crazy. But now that things are dying down, I should definitely be able to at least once a week, put through some content that is going to annoy Lubo about Ange here and there, So I should get that done. But yeah, Designated Hotspur on all my channels, mate.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. And then Lubo.
Well, we're back with the Spurs 5 on Monday. And tomorrow night I'll be busy. I've got an hour with Ricky Sachs at 5:30 doing a preview. And then Danny from Hotspur Hood has got a very, very good charity program, charity stream tomorrow. And I'm going to spend some time with him as well. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Just talking Spurs, what could be better?
Yeah, guys, if you haven't already, make sure you go and sub to Danny's channel, the Hotspur Hood. He will be going with a charity stream tomorrow. Fantastic calls. There's been some promotion around it in terms of why he's doing it. There's a bit of a story to it, which I'm not going to go into because he sells it a lot better than I do. But then there will be people that are on there that will obviously be giving information as to why these people need your support. Great calls. Really well done to Dan for doing it. I am hoping to join at some stage, but we shall see. Eugene, I really appreciate it, mate, as coming on for the guests. The host is irrelevant because I'm just me. Don't worry about me. And then Chris, last but not least, where can everyone find you, mate?
I don't know, really. I don't really want to be found, if I'm honest with you.
Okay, good. We can find him every Thursday here, 9:30 p.m. UK time. Make sure you're here, guys. Again, massive thank you. I really appreciate you all for coming on. Lubo, I know you're obviously normally on the Spurs 5 on Thursday, so we had to quickly snap him up when we found out he had a free agency clause where he could go on loan for a week. So we've managed to do that. But unlike Mikey Moore, he's starting and he's a starting man. He's the key man for us. So a massive thank you to everyone. I really appreciate it.
Great coming on. Thanks, Luke.
Thanks, guys. And as always, come on, you Spurs. See you later.